and welcome to the bonus Special News podcast. This is recording straight after the in case you're wondering. We're giving this
away for free. Games with gold.
Christ. We're releasing this to everyone, regardless of whether or not you're a patron. It's just, and I guess on the podcast services, I guess as you free bonus episode to sort of say sorry for all of the.
Is Mike cutting out for you as well?
You're cutting out a bit there, Mike.
No.
It's funny because it's always at very comedic times. It's like, welcome to the podcast.
It's the volume on my. I told you about this before, innit? The volume on the. There we go. Did it cut out again?
It happened then. It's the volume on my. And it cut out.
This is why we don't put these out publicly.
It's
for everyone watching.
The volume.
Yes.
On my Yeti, which for some reason doesn't agree with Discord sometimes.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it's bonus, so same rules apply. Apart from I'm wearing a top. It's not a top soft podcast.
Top?
No, I was going to go topless for like I do every week for the patrons.
Oh yeah.
So
it's usually, that's right. It's usually topless. I forgot about that. But it's So we're giving this away for free to everyone, regardless of whether or not you're a Patreon, just to say sorry for all of the podcasts that we've missed recently.
Because our actual patrons are such cool guys and girls that we know that they'll just be fine with that sharing the wealth for a week. They'll share just
furious. Imagine they were just fuming now. Imagine we just got a load of and stuff. I'd love it.
I really hope not. I really hope not. But yeah, just please. Our patrons they're just fucking cool people. They're just like, okay, you can have what we have a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we get that every week.
Just to say sorry. For all the podcasts we missed. We went to watch Dune.
Yeah,
we did.
So what happens if someone's never seen a bonus podcast before? They're not going to know that they're going to be expecting more games. So we better just tell them straight away.
True. Yeah, it's as I do say when I talk about the bonus podcast in the normal pod.
Yes.
We go off topic, so we talk about all kinds of crap. But a lot of times it's movies and TV mainly. But we a part of the reason we missed the podcast, I guess, this week is because we went to watch Dune.
We did.
Which we've been looking forward to for a long time. We went to see it in IMAX. And I don't know where to begin talking about it, to be honest.
Well, why don't we start by mentioning that this is one half of a remake of a film based on a book. So I might get things wrong, Liam. Feel free to correct me if that's untrue. But from what I know, Dune is a sci-fi book from the 60s, like mid-60s, I think 65. And then it was made in the late 80s into a film directed by David Lynch with Kyle MacLachlan and Sting in it, and it didn't do very well at all, but it got a bit of a cult following by kind of people who were like watching things that was so bad it's good, and then realised, hey, hang on, it's very camp, but there is a bit of lore here, because of course it was based off a very good book. Then Denis Villeneuve, who's like a new wave of sci-fi director who's been on a bit of a kill streak recently, and he's also responsible for the sequel to Blade Runner, one of the cultist sci-fi movies ever, and
fucking best.
And actually managed to make a sequel that was not only considered an okay kind of thing, not even a respectable sequel like Mike Flanagan's Doctor Sleep, but in fact, some people even think it is better than the original.
Yeah, I do. I think it's better than the original.
If anybody is going to unstingify, unlynchification of Dune, like successfully extract all of that and turn it into like a walloper of a two-film, so it's Denis, right? So he cast Timothy Chalamet, who's this like pretty French boy who like, I don't know, looks smouldering at the camera a lot, and he was in Call Me By Your Name and a bunch of stuff. And Zendaya, who's been in a bunch of shit as well. Greatest Showman, I guess, was maybe. And Well, yeah, that's the one. That's Spider-Man, isn't it? Yeah, Euphoria from, as well. That's how I know her. Yeah. So, and Is she a singer in her own right? Never heard any of her music. If that's the case,
she comes
really.
Yeah, she comes from like the Disney stable of where they go from like child actor to pop singer to then they actually escape the Disney stable sort of. But actually, it turns out they're quite respectable actors as well.
20 years later, there's loads of documentaries. Their parents took over their lives.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Free Britney. So we've got this. Set up here. We've got this huge name attached with Hans Zimmer's on the soundtrack. We've got these cool young up and comers in it, and then you watch the film.
Yeah, you've also got a stable of some of the most highly acclaimed actors of the recent years as well in supporting roles.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac's in there playing Timothy's dad. Yeah. Like we got Jason Momoa,
Josh Brolin, Rebecca Ferguson.
It's
a bit of everyone.
It's all right, isn't it? And so.
Yeah.
You watch the film, and then, in case you don't know anything about Dune, the setup is more or less this. This isn't spoiler territory, so don't worry. But it's like some intergalactic, planetary, political warfare stuff going on, where there's like each planet is ruled by a specific house. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of weird because it does kind of go into that like fantasy territory a lot. There's like space wizards, there's space witches, there's houses that rule and things like that. So, I would almost imagine that the guy who wrote it in the 60s was kind of going, okay, let's do the Lord of the Rings, but instead of it being like regions, they're their own planets. Yeah, instead of like the lands to the west, why don't we just have planets to the west? Because honestly, when you kind of think about the story of Dune as a whole, it could work on one planet. It could just be a desert area, the Northmen and like the people in the south and this and this. But whatever.
Very pointedly, an allegory about imperialism and occupying the desert and all that sort of stuff as well. Intentionally at the time it was written. I tried reading it in the before the film came out, and it's very dense and. It's not for me really, but I'll probably try again having watched the film. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna come away from this thinking, this is brilliant. But a lot of people have, like a lot of critics, absolutely love it. And but to me, it sort of, everybody keeps talking about the scale and overwhelming the senses and all that sort of stuff. But it really sort of failed to get me invested in the characters, I thought, really. And I sort of, it was, there was huge scale, but it's huge CGI scale. And it's huge, like, I think the scale, the musical scale was also, like, massive. It's very, very loud all the time. And you probably should watch it in IMAX. But if a film, you need to watch it in IMAX for it to be good, which I don't know if that's, not explicitly that, but Denis Villeneuve has been very like vocal about that sort of shit, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. Like he really doesn't want it to be going on home streaming and stuff.
I just think a lot of the excitement comes from like that part of it, doesn't it? Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
But if you watched it on your phone, don't tell David Lynch. But you wouldn't, you'd be. Dare I say, you wouldn't be half as gripped, right? Which I know people, everyone's going to be lining up to say, well, that's the same with everything. But it's like, nah, it's not. There's still some things that are like pretty cool to watch in general because they're exciting for other reasons than the booming. The sound of the bagpipe sounds fucking sick on IMAX, which actually was one of the highlights of the film for me.
But compare it with like other films that are great in IMAX, like Dunkirk, which is fucking amazing in IMAX. But it's also it doesn't matter where you watch that. It really draws you in. You're really hooked with what you're looking at. But that is definitely, that was all shot in 70mm and all that sort of bollocks. Mm-hmm. That was definitely intended for a big screen. But it's still, But I think this has more to do with the, trying to introduce you to a new fantasy world, and doing all that exposition-y stuff right at the, that half an hour at the beginning where there's like Luke Skywalker holo recordings saying, "This is exactly what this is. This is exactly how this works. These are who these people are." All that sort of stuff. I'm not into, and I think with Dune, it could, you can get away with being more mysterious which I expected Denis Villeneuve to do. To just be more mysterious. And I don't need to know everything, and I don't need to have like graphics on the screen telling me where I am and shit like that.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I feel like I just feel like it really did feel like it was the first half of a film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it did enough inside itself as a singular film to like set me up with a beginning, middle, and end, and this and this and this.
That like, final kind of the conflict at the end, like with no spoilers obviously, but the thing that happens at the end feels like it's in the middle of a movie because it's not. Mm-hmm. It's like it is like a big significant character development thing, but in compared to what's happened at the beginning, where it's just going like for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it's just sort of like it really it ends on a bit of a whimper.
It
and also kind of a whimper that doesn't mean anything. I don't think to people that don't know what's going to happen. Which if you're not really big into Dune or whatever, then you don't. It doesn't give you enough reason to give a shit because it's alluding to something up pretty much all the way through the film, and then when the thing it's alluding to finally is there tangibly, it's like, okay, cool. So what does that mean for everybody? Yeah. Find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. But it's like, I don't know. It didn't feel like there was much at stake. And there's this one big set piece that happens like halfway through the film, which then there's a scene later on that kind of just is like, oh, well, I guess that didn't matter then because, So I don't know. I feel like it wasn't. I don't know. This is going to sound really dickheadish, but I don't think it was like doing anything. It was like interesting and different, and it was not worried about like leaving people behind.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly. But also, I was really surprised by how like unsurprising it was. Like how, do you know what I mean? It's like that's a stupid thing to say, but it was like really it just fits the mold of like a big
Hollywood blockbuster. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really disappointing.
It is, because this is the guy that's pretty good for straying away from that sort of paint by numbers big thing, and it's just kind of annoying for me because it's like I think a lot of exciting things have happened in like fantasy and stuff, like epics, multi-film journeys and stuff have all kind of gone now. Everything's being turned into TV these days and stuff. People are saying this is like a great example now of it. This is going to be a trilogy. This is going to be a cinematic trilogy like no other, the best one since Lord of the Rings. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, that is like, it's definitely The Hobbit. Definitely not the Lord of the Rings. It is definitely The Hobbit.
Absolutely. It amazes me that there's so many critics have loved it as much as they have, because I'm really wondering like what is it about it that they're enjoying so much that that it is getting this kind of praise. And it is completely subjective. There's no such thing as an objective. Fucking, you can only have objective measurements. Like you can't have. There's no such thing as an objective like review. It is subjective, but that's what's kind of interesting to me is that I'm surprised that people are saying that they like it so much, and I'm not able to understand their point of view in it. I'm not able to understand why. There's big critics that just absolutely love it. I wish I got it. I want to watch it again. That's the one thing I will say is sort of like some of the music and some of the visual things that I'm like, I've thought about it for a couple of days afterwards, which I wasn't expecting. When the film finished, I thought I'm never going to think about that ever again. But it has made me want to. I do want to watch it again, maybe.
It just had like so much of it reminded me of like a Bandai Namco JRPG though. Like it was like in fact Tales of Arise starts off very, very similar to this, very, very similar in nearly every way. The male and female characters, the means of production, the area of production, the ruling class, the ruling race. and even down like the thing about it, and this is like the thing. This is like fucking the whatever Pokemon 7 out of 10 too much water review. But the fact that we're on but the thing for me was
too much sand. Is it?
No, that they were the good bits. But like like the city and things like that, everything seems really empty. Like this is like the city. The city was is like should be some sort of like what's it called from Gears of War, the last bastion of man that the locusts don't get. Yeah. But instead there was nothing really. You saw like a bunch of fucking pilgrims like crying and every now and then. But otherwise, like you were just in these empty cement walls. Everything just felt super clinky clanky and like.
Do you know what as well is that as an overall kind of look and vibe, it was just. I mean, people weren't raving for Chronicles of Riddick, were they? Do you know what I mean? It's the same fucking shit. It's the same. Yeah. It's like giant spaceships, armies of apocalyptic strong people who are just ravaging worlds.
Yeah, and then it's just
it just looks a bit better in this.
Crazy to me, but it's just I'm really confused. Peter Bradshaw gave it like the full 5 out of 5. That's to me one of the most. But I don't know. People are saying it's like an opera, and I think they've just like I think a lot of the critics seem to look like they've fucking been pulling out choice sentences from the first time you've heard of the Jedi in the old Star Wars reviews, and I think a lot of the terms that they're using and stuff. I don't know. I'm seeing the way that they're describing it, but I'm just not understanding.
Is it?
And I don't. And if the thing is, because the film is so obviously over-explaining everything it does, and it's actually quite thin on plot, I know 100% that it's not simply that I just have misunderstood or don't understand it, because I'm 100% sure I know what's going on. Because it's told me about 50 times. So
no, that's not the issue. It's the I don't. Okay, I get why what's happening to this guy and where he's going. I do not give a shit about what's happening to him. What about you, Liam? When it ended, what were you thinking?
So I was a bit warmer on the film than you guys were. I did enjoy it, mostly as like an audio-visual sort of experience more than anything. I totally agree with you. Like the plot is very thin. The characters, it doesn't feel like you spend enough time with any of them to really get to know them or care for them.
Which is bonkers.
Yeah,
really.
I think that's
considering how long it is.
Yeah, it's partly an issue because there are so many characters. Like I won't say what happens, but there's a character moment in the film probably about halfway through. I think they wanted it to be like a big, oh, really? But you just don't spend enough time with this character to actually like understand why they did what they did and what they did it for and so it doesn't really have the needed impact in that moment when they try to bill it as like, a big turning point in the film, really. But it's like I enjoyed it, but I think it was mostly from an audio-visual point of view, because like I don't think you can fault the ambition or the scope of the film. Like everything is quite literally massive in it. The people are massive, the spaceships are massive, the buildings are massive.
The thing with all that is that it feels like an engine that's just revving and revving and revving, but it's not going anywhere. It's like screaming at you the whole time, but it's not going anywhere. That's how that's the best like analogy that I can think of. Revving a car in neutral.
Yeah, I totally agree about the ending as well. It does feel like it was the end of like Act 1 more than a complete story in itself. Like it has me looking forward to part 2 whenever that comes out in like 5 years, because they haven't even started filming it or writing it yet.
That's exactly it. I will watch it, but in 5 years, how am I going to feel?
Because there's scenes in the film that are like potential visions of the future that feels like they've taken it out of the second part, but they've not even made the second part yet. I don't know. I think maybe when the second part is out, if it ever does come out, I'm sure it will come out. It'll fit if you watch them back to back. It'll probably be a more satisfying, like film. But as it stands, as a singular standalone piece of work, it doesn't feel great to watch it. Like you just get to the end and it's not satisfying.
No.
I know what you mean.
There's like a lot of conversational sort of sandworms, but it's like it's just Sandworms are everywhere in popular. If you're into video games, man, you've
the
killed
fucking worm from Karthus from Dark Souls, isn't it? Remember? Exactly. In fact, No Man's Sky had a big, huge thing just now about literally hunting down sounds. So but I guess it all comes from this. So
yeah, no, it
comes from
but
the original novel, I guess.
Absolutely, as a concept, but you just can't lean on it now because it's like, who cares? This is just it's like trying to come up with a fucking new lightsaber every time there's a new Star Wars just to keep the lightsaber fresh, like because they already knew that the lightsaber's already it's been done. It's a thing.
Yeah. True.
I think talking of lightsabers, I reckon that my two biggest issues with it are, number one, knife fighting is lame. It looked lame, and number two, there's nothing more boring than Timothée Chalamet thinking about Zendaya. And that is knife fights, and Timothée Chalamet thinking about Zendaya is basically the whole film.
Yeah. Well, knife fight makes it sound more exciting than it is.
That's right.
Unless you've got like Donnie Yen with a blade, it's not exciting.
Because they're all, this is a sci-fi movie where people are using interplanetary travel and giant laser barrage cannons to completely level cities, but they're going out with like flick sticks and fighting.
It's like a riot. The battle scenes are like
they are. They're little weird desert wetsuit things look like SWAT team gear. And then, but then the even more baffling thing is, like, whenever the plot decides it's a good idea, somebody does whip out a fucking Glock. Someone is, don't they? Though, don't they? There's a couple of times in the film where there's this big massive battle, and then someone just, oh shit, he's got a gun.
I was when I got home after we saw it. I was curious about that. I looked. Apparently, there is some like lore reason why they don't have firearms in the Dune universe.
Tell me about it then. If you can exposition anything to me, tell me about that.
I can't remember what it is, but apparently there is a reason. Like from what I was reading on like Reddit and shit. But yeah, apparently there is a reason. But yeah, it's like.
But that is the kind of reason which is like the Lord of the Rings Eagles reason, where. Why didn't they just fly the ring into Mordor? I'm sure there's a lore reason for it, but it's the same. Logically, it's the.
I think it also doesn't really help that because the films are 12A over here in the UK, which is like if you're in America, it's our equivalent of like PG-13. So it has to be open. The battle scenes really don't have any impact because they're not allowed to show you the impact, or the rating will get bumped up, and then they won't be able to get box office numbers because there'll be a smaller audience to see it.
I can't think of anything more depressing than a 12-year-old watching this.
Oh, they'd be bored shitless.
Well, there was like about 15 teenage kids behind us, right?
Oh, yeah.
One of them, when it ended, one of them just went, "That was shit."
No, I think they said fuck that shit. Actually,
they did say fuck that shit.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
So that was
the worst first date ever for them. Yeah. Dune.
Dune, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. I've been really, really looking forward to this for absolutely ages. So I'm a bit.
And for what?
For what?
I will watch it again whenever it comes out on like when I can stream it on Netflix or whatever from home. I'll watch it again, but I'm not going to rush out to the cinema and pay another ticket price to go see it. Hopefully when part 2 comes out, it'll make it retroactively better. But I did enjoy it as it was. But I think that was mostly just from watching these really well filmed scenes of massive. Yeah, like you said, it is an epic sort of in its vision. But yeah, as an actual plot and story, wasn't great.
No. So thanks, Denny. Wes Anderson's got a new joint out right now, baby. The French Dispatch movie, but the nearest local is Cheshire Oaks for us. So I'm 50-50 on whether I want to see it. But watching a Wes Anderson film in the cinema is such a special thing that I'm tempted to go and see it. Yeah. Otherwise, the reason I thought of that is I'm thinking, well, what else is actually coming out now this year? Big film wise.
Yeah.
Isn't Eternals out soon? Actually, that new Marvel thing.
Yeah, that's out in November, and then the new Spider-Man's December.
All right. Well, at least we got Marvel every single month forever and ever and ever to look forward to. But that didn't look too bad. That Eternals. I think I'll check that out. But yeah, I don't actually know what the next non huge in the middle of like a 50-part series film I want to watch.
I suppose.
Top Gun got delayed till February. It was meant to be out in November, but it got delayed till February.
Yeah, I watched Halloween Kills.
It was a bit light on trailers, wasn't it? Actually, now I think about it, there wasn't. There was only about 3 or 4 trailers, weren't there? I can't really remember.
The
Matrix.
Yeah, we walked in about halfway through the trailers, I think.
Did we? Right.
Yeah.
Because
Matrix.
There was Eternals, The Matrix. Me and Liam saw Halloween Kills. Do you want to hear what we think of that?
We saw Halloween Kills.
Okay. Halloween, right. So I don't know if it's the same for everyone in the world watching, and I'm sorry for assuming everyone has Netflix, but if you do have Netflix, Halloween, the event, is soon. So because of that, all of the Halloween movies, the John Carpenter and Deborah Hill movies, are on Netflix. I think all of them, actually.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2018. That's it. They haven't got H2O or Resurrection or the Rob Zombie ones.
Okay. So the Rob Zombie one you don't need to worry about, but
no, that's
H2O, that's annoying. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of Halloween movies, and you can watch them, and a lot of them are kind of like almost B-movie vibes, especially that there's like Halloween 3, which is a Halloween film that's nothing to do with Michael Myers. It's about like a Stonehenge and robots
like
and masks.
Pagan gods sort of thing.
Yeah. And Halloween Kills is like basically on the same level, in my opinion. So for anyone who doesn't know, Halloween is the slasher film by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill about a guy in a boiler suit and a white mask who, for seemingly no reason whatsoever, slashes the shit out of people on Halloween. His name's Michael Myers. And there's been a whole slew of films, as we just alluded to. However, the original Halloween came out in the 70s, but then there was a canonical sequel to that from 2018, literally also called Halloween. Mm-hmm. So there's Halloween like 1976, and then so this one is like Halloween, but with everything that we've learned about the world since the last Halloween. So it's all about like, the trauma that's grown inside the people involved, inside the town, around the story. And I think the most important thing about that is that it's a sequel that stars the same cast as the original from 1976, but this one was shot in 2017. And it ended really nice. It ended really definitively. I thought if that was the last time we ever saw a Halloween film, I think everyone would happily bow out and say that was a great fitting end.
Yep.
Alpha and Omega, we've done it. But it then was announced that it's actually a trilogy of Halloween films that were actually due to be finished now, but because of COVID, the release dates and things, the cinemas being closed, we got this middle movie this year, Halloween Kills. So it's the third movie in the story, right? Even though it's like the 12th Halloween movie. And it is a very, very, very silly, direct continuation of the last movie in which, well, I'm just going to say it right now. Like all the Halloween movies, you kind of think Michael Myers has been killed at the end of Halloween, but he hasn't. And in this, you see how he managed to escape his almost certain end. And then he goes on a rampage throughout the town for seemingly no reason in a variety of maybe interesting ways. Lots of interesting murders and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it, Liam. Right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It tries to, like you were saying, it brings back not cast members, because quite a few of them are dead or, retired. But it brings back characters from the first movie, like the kids who were being babysat in the first movie. They bring them back as like adults who are, dealing with the trauma of almost being killed by a mass psychopath when they were like 10 years old and stuff like that. They delve into that. But yeah, it's like, I really liked Halloween 2018. Because we saw it in the cinema, didn't we, Jake?
Yeah, it was ace.
I really liked it. And but yeah, so Halloween Kills, I saw it with my family, and it was just like, I thought it was okay, but yeah, it was, it's more along the lines of the sequels we got in like the 80s and 90s than it was, it really just feels like it's spinning its wheels the entire movie. You can tell it's like the middle chapter of a trilogy, but they didn't really have anything to say. So it's basically just Michael Myers going around doing a bunch of like incredibly over-the-top brutal kills on people.
Yeah.
And that's all there really is to the film. There's some really, really shit elements to it. Like, one of the big story elements is the town form like a lynch mob and decide they're going to like kill Michael Myers once and for all so he can't terrify them. Which doesn't make sense, because if you go back to the original Halloween, it was he killed 3 people in the 70s, and yet 40 years later this town acts like he's massacred the entire town about 7 times over.
That's really true.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, like, why this town is so angry about it? It's like, he killed 3 people 40 years ago, and he's been in prison ever since then.
We don't condone the murder of 3 people, but it's worth mentioning, isn't it?
It's the reaction of the town is so overblown to what it is. Like, but honestly, like, it feels weird that like the film made me root for Michael Myers more than any other character.
Honestly, that's why I liked it. Yeah, that's why I liked it. You know, when you're watching an old woman get what they call like a kitchen top light shoved for her neck, and you're just going, I feel nothing.
Yeah,
I thought, and you're watching her literally bleed out, watching her husband get stabbed to death, and you're just going,
yeah.
What, you know, like the bad horror tropes of disposable life is like really trashy and bad, isn't it? It's why a lot of people watch the slasher movies. This has that big time where
it does.
Michael Myers with no face, no voice, no purpose becomes the most charismatic and relatable character in the thing.
It's bad.
It's
bad. There's one scene quite early on where like he's just roaming about the town, and part of this like mob find him and they like roll up on him in a 4x4 car, and they all like start like packing guns, like we're gonna get him, and yet like he kills them in like almost over the top comedic ways. Like one woman tries to like shoot him and he kicks the car door at her and she ends up shooting herself in the face, and it's more funny than it is
sounds like Alien Covenant, man.
It's like, it's so silly, this film. Like, it's weird that it's made by the same creative team who did 2018. It's like and the ending is like, it feels like they changed the ending completely. Like,
really,
it feels like they edited out loads of it, and it's like really weird, like fast cuts and speed ramps of like things happening at the end. Like they tried to like change it for a third film. Yeah, and it's like it literally just ends the movie. Like something happened. Like there's no like conclusion or definitive like arc that is ended. It just like it literally just ends on a shot of his face.
That actually isn't like an arc, is there?
Yeah,
really.
Like absolutely fuck all happens apart from the town going, we're gonna find him and kill him.
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah,
evil dies tonight.
They run around chanting "Evil dies tonight," and then all he does is brutally kill them all anyway.
Yeah. It's stupid, but it's like it's in so bad it's good territory.
Like you can still watch it and enjoy. The one good thing about it, John Carpenter, man, he's still got the music.
Honest to God, honestly, John Carpenter's score is crazy.
It's the best part of the film.
Yep.
And it was the best part of the 2018 one as well.
Yep.
Because he's retired now, he's just sitting in his spare room playing his keyboard all day, isn't it?
Well, what's even funnier is it's kind of not that different than the 70s one. It's like he's forgotten, and then he sat at the keyboard and tried to get it. Yeah, he's played a different note here and there and gone, yes. Mm-hmm. But it's, I'll tell you what, it's
still weirdly one of the better Halloween films, though. In the pantheon of Halloween films. It's one of the better ones.
Yep. Yeah, it's great. I love that you can talk about this sort of thing and go like complete shit, no plot. It fucking sucks, by the way, but also it's fun and one of the better ones.
Yeah,
it's just like it only works with trashy slasher movies.
Weirdly makes Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, even though according to this new timeline of Halloween films, that one did not happen and did not exist, they show a brief flashback scene from that film, so it fucks up its own new timeline by almost implying that Halloween 2, the original one from the 80s, actually did happen, even though the last film said no, it didn't.
Yeah,
so
it's absolutely terrible.
Weird shit going on. But it's like they forgot what they were doing, and then
you're basically, we're watching them figuring it out.
Yeah,
but on a $20 million budget.
Yeah,
that's
exactly it.
Yeah. So,
all right,
how do you feel?
From one cinematic masterpiece to another.
Well, to be fair, we've both said exactly. We said the same thing. Like, I didn't feel anything about the characters. It just sort of ends.
Yeah.
Spinning its wheels the whole time.
So is it bad that out of both films, the most charismatic character is Michael Myers?
Yeah. I don't know. I quite like Rebecca Ferguson. To be honest,
she was good. I did like Oscar Isaac, but that's because
we're not talking about Halloween anymore, by the way.
No.
About Dune.
I'd watch the fuck out of a Halloween movie if Oscar Isaac was in it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like I did like Oscar Isaac in Dune. I wanted more of him, even though I know like he's just a supporting character, and his story is shown and done in like half an hour. Pretty much, he's there to facilitate the other characters.
There's good characters and stuff in it, but it's just, I don't know, it's as a symphony of all kinds of different things going on. It just never, and it's maybe it's if they got you to care about Timothée Chalamet earlier and made that work, maybe the whole thing would just click together a bit easier. But if that
Hollywood's been trying and failing for about 6 years now, so I'm really
And, okay, his name's Paul in this, but it's I just don't want to go over it again. But
God bless him. Yeah,
God bless. Yeah, Dune. The best thing about Dune is the strategy game, isn't it?
Very nice. Very good.
Well, there you go. That was the bonus podcast. That's the special news bonus podcast. It was a bit of a downer this week.
Yeah.
It's usually a bit more. It's also, I feel like we were a bit more formal. I don't know what the.
Well, the tops were on, and we weren't talking about Rocky 4. So there's.
I keep forgetting about the tops. It's the fucking tops. Isn't it?
I mean, I did watch other stuff, but we can save that for next time.
Yeah.
Nice.
I need to
cliffhanger, Elliam.
So there you go. Yeah, just like Dune and Halloween. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. We'll be back next week with another podcast. Usual time, probably.
I don't see why not. Yep.
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.